All right, so now we're recording. I'm gonna reshare the screen. Okay, there we go. All right, Catherine, would you introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm Catherine. I'm the academic director at the Michigan Language Center, and we're based out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. Very nice to meet you all.
All right.
And hello, everyone. My name is Tessa, and I also work at the Michigan Language Center in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I help students through the admission process. So if you're interested at all in conditional admissions and studying English at MLC and before you go on to Concordia, I am more than happy to help you.
My name is Eric Adams, and I am a professor of English at Concordia University, Wisconsin, and I also run the Writing Center.
All right, so you got to know us just a little bit. And first, leading us off, we're going to talk about the agenda today. So first, we're going to go over the introduction to kind of U.S. essay writing, which is kind of the major part of writing at the academic setting. Then we're going to talk about what college writing is looking like now, because it's an evolving kind of area. It hasn't been the same forever, and it's a field that is constantly evolving. Then we're going to talk about the differences in college writing. So it's an evolving field, but then there are subtypes of college writing that we're going to talk about. And then we're going to say about the Writing Center. Eric's going to tell us how the Writing Center specifically can help you at Concordia, but also these are going to be kind of general truths at other universities as well. And then Tessa and I will talk about admissions into Michigan Language Center and Concordia. And then we'll take some Q&A at the end. So feel free to put those questions in the chat as you have them, and we'll kind of go through them during that Q&A time. And you can also then unmute as well during that Q&A session. Okay, so starting off today, we have Catherine is going to talk to us a little bit about Michigan Language Center. Catherine, take it away.
Thank you, Kelsey. Yes, so as I said, I'm the academic director at the Michigan Language Center, and we're in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and we've been helping people meet their English goals for more than 40 years. We were founded in 1978, and we've been running classes for English for university-bound people, students who need everyday English, students who are professionals and looking to work more on their business skills for English. And we have classes every 5 weeks, virtual or in person. Of course, now we're very happy to partner with Concordia and being able to offer virtual classes. And I'll talk more about our writing class at the end of my presentation. So we have classes for all students at all levels. And I'm going to talk to you today about, so from the perspective of an aspiring university student. And I always think of writing as a process, and also if we can take a step back and think about why do we write, not just in the university setting, but in general. And for most of us, we might say that the reason we write is because we have to. We have to for work, we have to for test prep, we have to for our college classes, we have to for email communication. So it's something that we must do. But are there any other reasons that we might write? And here's where we can really think about the unique perspective of each individual. We write because we have something to say. And every time we write, we have our voice. And we want to share that voice with others, whether it's through an essay, whether it's through our own idea of what we want to research, whether it's communicating with others through email. And another reason we write is because it helps improve our English. By writing, we understand the language better and better, and we can really get immersed in the language. And Another thing that I really like about writing is that it's permanent. Like what you say, you can write it down, there it is. You can also improve it. If you speak, unless it's recorded for everybody, your voice is gone. And if you're reading or listening, that's a passive skill. So you're just responding to something. So writing is really the unique opportunity to say something from your voice. And we care about that. And we want to help you develop and find that voice. Okay, next slide. Okay, I think there's a couple. Can you go back? Keep going back. There should be there we go. Yeah. And writing, this comes as not good news to some people, but writing is a process. Writing is not something we do quickly. The only way that we can truly become a better writer is to follow the writing process. And that's absolutely what's needed at university level. And I would argue for any writing that you do as an adult. And the process goes through these steps. You have to brainstorm and you have to research. What do you want to say? Do you understand what's being asked of you? And how can you defend what you want to say or support what you want to say? And in order to do that, you need to start by organizing your thoughts in an outline. And university writing tends to follow a very specific process, a very specific, almost like a formula. And that's actually a good thing, because once you understand the formula, you can concentrate more on saying what you want to say. So you create an outline and then you create a draft. And after that, step number 3 is often what people are the most shy about. They don't like to do this, but it's so important. You need to get feedback from somebody who cares. And why? Why do you need to get feedback? Because if you're so involved in your process, you can't really be an objective observer of your writing. So you need to have somebody else read it, and then they might have a question. They might say, I don't really understand this part. So then you might need to explain that further. Or somebody might say, oh, that doesn't, do you have more support for this part? Or maybe this grammar needs a little work or something. Anything you can get from feedback from somebody who cares is necessary in the process. So after you get your feedback, then you go back to your computer and you work on improving your draft. And at some point, it could be that the professor looks at it, but not always. So you might need to put your paper aside and come back at some time later and work on it again, because you want to present your best work when you turn it in. And depending on what kind of class you're taking at university, a professor will help you in the writing process, or they will expect you to produce a quality paper at the end. And Eric will talk further about how universities support you. But if you're looking at the class itself, it could be that what the professor is getting for the first time is your final draft. So you want to turn in the best thing that you can. Okay, next slide. Okay, and here this is, I love to talk about how to improve writing. Again, this may not be something that other people love to hear or love to talk about, but I think there's such a broad range of ways to help improve your writing. And the number one way is not to write, but to read. And how can that be? How can that be more important than writing to improve? Well, by reading, you are learning about the natural way of saying something. You're improving, you're learning, you're kind of absorbing the grammar, the vocabulary, sentence structure, organization. You're gonna really improve your overall writing and English ability by reading. So I always think if I could wave a magic wand and give any student something, it would be the love of reading. So if you have that, great. And if you don't, please work on that. And after that, write. And I always suggest writing in some sort of a classroom structure is really the best way. Writing on your own is good for developing a voice, but it's not necessarily so good for improving your sentence structure, grammar, overall essay style. So writing with support. And of course, wherever we are, we have to understand the rules. And this is something that international students often are expected to know, but that's not necessarily how it's been where you come from. And things that are very important in the US university writing system are, you must cite your sources. And so that means if you say something, you have to tell us where that information came from. And of course, you can't use the exact words of others. And sometimes those can seem at odds with each other. Well, if I'm saying what somebody else says, and I have to cite my sources, and then I'm being accused of plagiarism, so that can be confusing. So plagiarism is using somebody else's words as if they were your own, and we cannot do that here. And citing sources is a very complex subject and needs lots of practice. And Eric will talk more about that too. But we need to support what we say. So I always say, I'm not that interested in your opinion unless you can back it up. And we want you to do that. And everybody's opinion is different. So every single person that writes, every single paper that's written is different from somebody else's. And that's the beauty, again, of writing. So, and then, like I mentioned before, get feedback. And that can happen if you're taking a writing class or if you're going to the writing center. Get somebody to look at that, at what you have said. And then you're not finished. You're going to read and write some more because now you love reading and you're going to incorporate that into your daily and your university life. And all of those things will really help you become a better writer. It's a guarantee and help you find that voice. Okay. And finally, I want to say that at the Michigan Language Center, we take writing for university very seriously. We make our students work hard, write essays a lot, and cite their sources, and submit drafts, and get peer feedback, and practice timed writing. And we have classes that are 6 hours a week, and we have classes that start every 5 weeks. And all of those are available online. And our main goal for much of our writing class is to help students prepare for university. And I'd love to answer any questions at the end of this if you have them. And now I'll turn it over to Eric.
Thanks, Catherine, so much. Yeah, we'll learn about how to apply for Michigan Language Center and the English Pathway Program to Concordia at the end. But yes, moving over then to Eric, who is our our Writing Center Director here at Concordia. He's gonna take it over. Go ahead, Eric.
All right, so in general, at American universities, there has been a growing awareness of all of our students who come to us with, these days, with great technical abilities, right? So you have your cell phones, and in your cell phone, in the palm of your hand, you have more information than most human beings have had in the history of the world, right? So this is a great advantage for these generations of students coming into university these days. But what we also find is that, you know, it's a communication device, but what a lot of students, where they are proficient in using the technology, the communication can be lacking when it comes to talking to somebody or writing to somebody beyond your friends or your family, so outside of the spheres of your familiarity. So what universities have been doing is incorporating more writing into more disciplines, okay? Traditionally, we would learn writing in your English classes in American universities. But what they are doing now is creating more writing intensive courses in all of the disciplines. So you can encounter more writing in classes beyond simply English. You know, you'll get history, psychology, business, and the sciences, right? There's more, you know, most significantly, there's more writing in the business and science classes, okay? So we do this, like the overall goal of this is just to become more familiar with writing and its demands, and particularly the demands of the specific audiences who you are writing to. So the writing will be different in the different fields, and if you do it more in the fields that you're interested in, you will be better developed to write and communicate with people in your fields of study. Next slide. So traditionally, with the most experiences that most students have in English classes, or excuse me, in university, is to enter a first year, maybe first two semesters English classes, right? And in this class, you would normally exercise your ability to read and write, just as Catherine was talking about. And you know, in modern day English classes, we focus very heavily on critical reading and writing skills, and developing an understanding of the writing process, as you saw earlier. You would also develop how to use someone else's work and avoid plagiarism, how to express and interpret arguments, and in that process, it's at the bottom here, but you would, through all the exercise and work and discussion, you would work on grammar and syntax. So this is really a priority level of the things that you would normally focus on in a writing class. So these classes still exist. You will still learn writing these ways. But now American universities are spreading out the exercise of writing through all the disciplines. Next slide. So in the different disciplines, you will find different styles of writing. So in English departments or English department classes, often you have first person writing, you're sharing your opinion, and you will do research and support it with other people's arguments and their supported opinions. But in the other styles of writing in the disciplines, you may find that there's a greater focus on a certain kind of writing, and there's less tolerance for error. In perhaps, you know, the sciences, your opinion is much less important, and it's much more important you understand process and collection and reporting of data. And in contrast with the writing that you would practice in your English classes, you're more likely to be writing in the third person and writing past tense in other disciplines. And then, of course, there's all kinds of different citation styles for the different disciplines. And actually, I think we can see that on our next screen. So these are the four main citation styles we use at Concordia. So we have modern language association, which is the ones you're going to get in English. And that'll be different from Turabian, which you're going to get in business, history, fine arts, and religion. And then, of course, medical research has its own style. And then perhaps the most common style at Concordia is APA, the American Psychological Association. And this is used across a broad spectrum of different disciplines. So, and of course, citation styles are the tools that we use to show how we use other people's writing and ideas, right? So it's a very clear system for other people outside of your immediate circle of friends or family, so that we know if you're making an argument, they can participate in that argument by looking at where is your information coming from, your process of arguing their points, and where can they go and look at your information, because you're developing an interpretation and an argument based off an interpretation. And through this process, these tools, your readers which are usually going to be your professors, but not always, have the ability to go and look at, well, how are you understanding this information? Okay, so next screen. So the Writing Center helps with all of this, right? It's a group of tutors who provide you with different kinds of support throughout the entire writing process. So as if we think about the writing process, the middle step and perhaps the most neglected step is feedback. And the writing tutors and the Writing Center provide you that feedback, right? So it's somebody outside of your class, which is important because when they read your work or just listen to you talk about your ideas, it requires you to explain it in a way that somebody else would understand, right? So this is kind of the key action in feedback, is putting you in the place of needing to make somebody else understand. And it even helps if they're outside of your class because they don't have the same experience as you do, listening to the discussions and sharing in the work that everybody has done in your class. And these are trained people who have excelled in writing, but they don't know necessarily your discipline. So that can be a benefit. And then, of course, another reader is also going to be able to see your errors better than you are going to be able to see your own errors. Because obviously when we are writing, we have two sides of our mind working, right? We have the side of us that is thinking about the content and the ideas and the arguments. And then there's the part that's trying to translate that into written English in this instance. But any language, you know, you have to type on the keys and you have to, or write with your hand, and that's all different part of your brain. And so when your brain's translating from one side to the other, there can be errors, and we understand that, right? So we help you identify those errors, and we can usually identify them better than you can yourself. And this goes for any writer. Okay, next screen. So, and this is the screen you've already seen of the writing process, but I'd like to point out that, you know, while we are, in particular, we provide 3, if you are indeed treating all of your writing like a process, which is to say you're spending time to break it up into different components, if you have time, you can bring it to us at any stage of the writing process, right? So you can bring us simply the assignment and we can sit and talk to you about, like, brainstorm, think about different ideas and different approaches. We can talk about how you might research it. You know, we are familiar with the library resources and the internet resources that we have on campuses. We can help you think about an outline, how to organize it. We don't draft it for you, but we can look at your draft that you would bring into us, right? And that's the most conventional way. Somebody will bring us a draft, and you will go through it with a tutor, and they will give you a feedback. Do they understand it? Do they see any ways that it might be better organized? And then, of course, do we see any errors, right? And then you can do that, you know, ideally before, maybe multiple times before you submit the final draft for grading. All right, next image. So we focus on content first, right? Because if you're coming to us and your draft is going to go through some changes, it's possible that the language and the sentences will change. So there's not much need to correct errors in something that's going to be changed, right? So we focus on that first. Then we think about organization, then we think about clarity, and then we think about style, right? So your different classes and different disciplines are going to have different expectations. And of course, those expectations should be written down for you in your assignment or in, you know, the class syllabus. So you would bring those materials to us, and we would work with you to make sure that these things are sort of being reflected in your work. And then we don't correct or edit your paper for you, right? So we can help you find errors, but we don't fix them for you because we are ethically bound not to do that, right? But you will find that learning English and practicing your ability to use the grammar and the syntax in the written form, we can certainly help you with that. We will help you identify places where you need more attention. And then we have lots of resources about very specific issues in language and grammar that we can give you, like worksheets that can help you practice a certain kind of skill, like commas or articles or something like that. Okay, next screen. So a little bit about the people who are helping you. The writing tutors are all students, so they will be your peers, but they are ones who have performed especially well in writing classes. And then they have all taken a semester-long tutoring class where we read and practice the science of teaching and tutoring, okay? So, and they are specifically trained to help work with people who may be speakers of English as a second language, right? So we're very familiar with the challenges that come with for people who speak a different language primarily at home, and as well as people who may be coming to our culture from a different culture. So they have training to help people who may need more help than just with the language, but maybe understanding certain cues or ideas that are particular to America or Western culture that may be not clear to somebody from a different culture. So we can help people understand their assignments as much as help them with their, the words on the page, as it were. And then, of course, all of our meetings are 1 hour long and are one-on-one. So you get one person working just with you and your paper or your concerns for 1 hour. And you can use that once a week, and under certain circumstances, a little bit more than that. And then we have other resources that are more digital. So this would be during this normal semester. You would have one-on-one meetings. During breaks or during summer, we also have remote services, which is an email-based service. And I think that would be it for me. So if you have any questions about the Writing Center or the ways that we can help you with those disciplines or those writing styles, those citation styles, by all means, ask me at the end of the presentation.
Thanks, Eric. That really helps us get a better idea, and Catherine as well, for what to expect really when it comes to writing at an American university. Things you may have to encounter, things that are going to be skills you are going to build up as you move through your undergraduate or graduate coursework. So Concordia University, Wisconsin is our main campus. We have undergraduate and graduate programs available for international students. We are still issuing I-20s, for F1 students. And it's a very simple process to apply to Concordia. We have a free online application. You can use code USACUW to waive the application fee. If you have an English test score, you can upload that as well to your application, along with for our graduate students, a few extra things such as reference letters, resume, and statement of purpose. And then transcripts right now during the time of COVID, it's actually a great time to apply because we are accepting scanned emailed copies for the admission process for transcripts. But before you would enroll, we would just ask that the official be sent to us. We're hoping this gives you more flexibility in the timing of things and also more funds so that you guys can, put those funds instead towards, applying for your visa, things like that. But we also have an English pathway program, and I'll let Tessa talk about that in just a second. So Concordia University, Wisconsin is our main location, but we also have a location in Ann Arbor, Michigan, which is right next door over to Catherine and Tessa in the Michigan Language Center. but it is located in the #1 college town in the United States, Ann Arbor, Michigan. But it is a small campus. So if you want the best of both worlds, you know, really close attention, everybody knows your name, but also really great housing and exciting things happening in the city, great transportation options, we have an undergraduate program that might be just right for you. So the process is the same. We have a free online application, and I will put it in the chat box for you all. And then we have the same process of uploading English test scores and emailing transcripts. But Tessa, how do students get into Michigan Language Center?
Great question, Kelsey. So for those students who might not be quite ready to begin their degree program at Concordia, we invite you to first come study at the Michigan Language Center. And as Catherine mentioned, we have classes both online and in person. So if you are interested in studying in person in the United States at MLC, you are welcome to apply online at our website, and we will gladly provide the I-20 so that you can obtain your F1 visa. And then after completing your studies at MLC, we will help you transfer your I-20 to Concordia so that you can begin your academic degree program. So I've included the link to our online application here. It's www.mlc.edu, and you can indicate whether or not you want to study online or in person. And after you apply, we will have you take the Michigan Language Center English Placement Test. It's a free online test that helps us determine what your English language proficiency level is, so that we can find the most appropriate classes for you. So after you take the test, you will meet with our academic director, and they will help you choose your classes and also help you determine how long you might expect to study before transferring out to Concordia University. So if you have any questions about this conditional admissions process, I'm happy to answer them in the chat, or you can email me at info@englishclasses.com.
Thanks, Tessa. And I think it's awesome you guys have been able to provide in-person English classes and virtual classes. So if you want to study at home, but still get your English scores, proficiency up so that you can move directly into Concordia, you can do that too with Michigan Language Center. And I think that is amazing. All right. So just putting it up here too, if you want to talk to, again, Tessa had hers, but also if you have questions for me, you can certainly email us. We will get to you as soon as we can, just to figure out what programs we have and what you specifically need, and is this okay? Those are questions we're all very familiar with asking. I'm sure Tessa is in the same boat there. All right, so now we move on to any questions that you guys may have. So feel free to unmute if you'd like, or put them in the chat box. I have been kind of checking in on the chat box. I don't think I've missed anything. It's going okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions we can help with right now in terms of programs at Concordia or Michigan Language Center, or writing? Stop share here so that I can, there we go. You can see everybody now. Okay. We've got a quiet group. We must have done all right. I'm going to put the full links in here just so everybody has them for both Concordia's application and then for Ann Arbor's application as well. And then for both campuses, actually, we have virtual campus tours on our website. And that can be nice to just kind of poke around, see what life is like on either of our campuses. All right. Great question, Yang. We have a question about, can I attend the course with a J visa? Yes, you can. We are issuing the DS 2019, I believe it is, the equivalent of an I-20. But yes, we do. And for when the courses start, it depends on which program you're interested in. So Yang, would you tell me what program you're interested in? Give me a second here. But we have, for our undergraduate programs, we have traditional fall and spring starts. So that means late August and then late January. You'll leave soon. Only, as in you're in Ann Arbor right now? Or you're going to Ann Arbor? Oh, okay, well, fantastic. Yes, we could then, I think it might be good if we set up a meeting perhaps to talk about your specific circumstances. Yang, it sounds like you're in a very special spot that might have a little extra counseling that we might need to do, but I'd be happy to meet with you. If you want to send me an email, I'll put it in here. My specific email as well. You can send me an email. We can set up a time to Zoom specifically just for us, okay? Yeah, no problem. All right. Any other questions that our group can help with? Okay, well then thank you all so very much for coming. We'll send out the recording as well. So if there is something you wanted to go over again, think about like what were the tips and tricks that Catherine said about improving your writing. We'll be able to send that out as well. So keep an eye on your email, okay? We'll also make sure to put how to apply for both Concordia and Michigan Language Center and our contact information in those follow-up emails as well. All right, guys, thank you so much. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it might be, wherever you are. And we hope to see you soon. Bye.